Hello and good evening.
We got something chill for you today. We got something relaxing for you today.
Yep, nice little roundtable discussion.
Now, don't you pull an Ian Jum on me. Don't have me do all the talking for this episode. I want to rest my voice at some point.
I'll do the best I can.
All right, we got Shanny with us for this episode.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, we got Mother's Day, and for an episode that has nothing to do with Mother's Day, we're talking about. It's a topic that's been popular in the server where everybody wants to talk about this, where it gets brought up frequently. Some users more than others. The comparing and contrasting between the Glassworkers and Technocrats. So let's just go ahead and let's talk about it. You get to go into detail about it, but before we begin that, Kyle, I'm deeply disappointed in this popularity poll we got going on right now.
Oh wait, the one that you posted?
We had to add that black cards in for Trish, who was not an option originally. And I'm thinking, well, why do you guys like Trish? Why is Trish getting votes?
Because she's a black spiral that's refused her nature.
Because the reason why you like Trish is because my character bullies her. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the one reason. That if it wasn't for me, she'd have nothing.
I'm waiting for the cleft sweep myself.
Yeah.
But I think Autumn's a pretty definitive leader.
You just vote for these people because they're bonars and that's it.
Hey, I like...
He's poor. He's just like me, for real.
I mean, I'm not poor. I just like Cleft. I think he's funny.
Kyle, you have an EBT card. You have rubber bands around your shoes as they're falling apart.
No, my Adidas hold together pretty well, I'd say.
And Kyle has a fun story where he got Sean in person.
So, Sean was at a convention on Saturday that I went to go meet him at. Only trouble with that is I was blisteringly hungover. One of my friends came up on Friday and we went out partying and I did not recover in time. So I drove out to the city. I walked to the venue, and I was looking around for him. I originally thought I had the wrong number. And it turns out I did put his number wrong in my phone. So I changed the number, and he was like, oh, we're at this booth called Very Cute. I'm like, oh, sick, okay. I stopped at the Starbucks in the lobby to get myself a water. And so I finally get up there, and I say hi. I say hi to Sean. I say hi to his wife. And I start feeling a little rough. I said, excuse me, I'm going to use the bathroom real quick. And so I get in the escalator back down to the lobby, and I can feel it brewing, and I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. I look over, and the bathroom is across the lobby, and I know I'm not going to make that. And I look over, and I see the door outside, and as soon as I'm at the bottom of the elevator, I start speed walking, and I feel it lurch up my throat. I cover my mouth. I shove the door open, and I just lose it outside of the convention center. And so I'm just sitting there. And I got it all over my fucking shirt, and it's disgusting. And I'm like, oh my God, I look like a fucking slob right now. I gotta get my shit together. So I go back in.
You buy a shirt at the convention, yeah.
I that is what I did. I walked across the lobby. I washed myself off in the sink, rinsed my mouth out, went upstairs, bought a new T-shirt. Got changed in the bathroom, put the other shirt on. I apologize. Like, hey man, I'm sorry. I was out partying last night, so I'm a little rough today. He's like, it's all good. And we just sat around for a couple hours at his booth, and he was selling a lot of his hand-painted miniatures. And we were just talking about different movies, talking about my job, and he's looking for a new job right now. And it was just how his parents are looking after his daughter, taking her to the aquarium right now. So it was just a really great time, and I wish I would have spent more time to hang out with him, but he was pretty busy with the convention, and I was feeling a little rough, but it was just great to meet him in person finally, and we got along just as well in person as we do here on the channel, because it's been sort of like a running gag. If he has a talkative character, and that's been true of both the vampire game we played, Las Vegas by Night, and of Rage Across Russia. Our characters are always good friends, and we talk a lot outside of the channel too. So It was really cool to meet him in person. That's the takeaway from this. Meet your online friends. 9 times out of 10, they're really cool people.
There it is. Keep your fingers crossed with this kind of stuff.
Yep.
Hopefully, I can see you guys in real life.
That'd be sick.
There it is. And we had that whole video too. Where we were on the couch doing that interview with Kyle.
Yeah, and Ryan was there, and that was a lot of fun.
There's Invisible Ryan.
Yes, he was invisible, but he was there. You saw his arm.
Yeah.
I need to travel more.
Highly recommend it.
I did a lot of it before the pandemic, and then I have to get I have to have the real ID, and I have to have the 2 shots, and then all this other crap that goes into it. I still do it, but it's a hassle now, and flights just get so expensive, man.
The flights are really expensive. It's kind of
we
sucks.
were going to that Montreal trip. It's like the amount of money I paid for that Boston trip was the amount of money that it used to cost to go to Canada.
Exactly. It's insane how much shit costs nowadays.
There it is. All right, let's go. Let's go ahead. Let's get into it. The Technocrats and the Glassworkers.
Yes.
All right. Now, what is a Technocrat?
It's a mage.
Yes, it is an evil mage that wants to destroy the avatars of all the unawakened and make society a perfectly magicless and robotic state.
But what's the benefit to having a Technocrat in your area?
Stability, just general and quality of life improvement.
It's safety that no this supernatural shit is coming after you to kill you.
Yep, no more vampires, no more werewolves, no more traditionalist mages trying to sway your opinions and shit.
Where it's terrible if you are one of those things, but if you're an average okay human who's just trying to live a boring life, keeping his head down, just trying to live and have a wife and have kids, it sounds pretty good. If only you knew what kind of cost was going into it, though.
Well, then, you get black bag by the NWO. It's all their fault. Everything bad is the NWO's fault.
Now, Shanny, what is a Glassworker?
They're a tribe of werewolves that are very tech savvy.
Now, when you say tech savvy, what do they do with the tech?
If you take their word for it, they use the tools of the Weaver to defeat the worm and protect humanity. If you ask any other werewolf, they're just servants of the Weaver.
Now, do they actively venerate the Weaver, or are they unknowing puppets of it?
That depends on which camp you're in.
I don't like how you worded that.
Because
that's true.
Favorite tribes.
It's the Book of the Weaver saying that, where the Glassworkers don't necessarily venerate the Weaver herself; they just use their tools. And
exactly.
If I were to use a 40K analogy, they think they're Iron Warriors. That's what they think there are. It's that whole mentality, Kyle, where we don't serve chaos; chaos serves us. Where that pattern spider isn't telling me what to do. I'm taking that pattern spider. I'm making this awesome armor or gun or computer out of it. And behold, I'm not corrupted at all. When in actuality, you're word bearers. Where you're so deep in worm and weaver corruption, you don't realize how bad you have it, but you aren't showing symptoms. The weaver has her hand around your neck. You just don't realize it's happening to you. Where do the Glassworkers usually stand politically?
We would like to make a lot of money.
With the corporate wolves.
Yes. So it's either going to be lib right or lib center. Lib left if you're DSL today.
Yeah.
I was thinking more libertarian, right?
See, libertarian, where you can say that's true with the random interrupts.
Yes. We want code to be free for everybody. We want to be able to manipulate the machine and ensure the free transmission of information for all people. Very similar to the virtual adepts in that regard.
You can say that about the wise guys.
Look, we just want to profit here. What's wrong with running a little business, a little family-owned business? Capiche?
You can say that is true.
I would say.
What?
No, I was saying the mob would be more libertarian, I guess.
Absolutely. It's like I remember I was having a political discussion with Sean, and I'm misrepresenting him here as a joke, but I'm saying, so Sean, with this, what you mean by you being an anarchist, that you want next to no government, what you actually want is the Italian mafia to take over the world. That's what you want. And I remember he paused a little bit. And he said, Yeah, that might be it. I want the world to be run by Italians, is what he wants.
I mean, he is Italian, so.
There it is. It's a conflict of interest here.
See, here's the thing, though, is that the Italian mob isn't the Italian mob is not libertarian. They play by their own rules, but they are they are a very authoritarian organization that
but they're
keeps
against
its
the government.
Yeah, but that's replacing one tyranny with a different flavor of tyranny.
And so this thought popped in my head. But when you have I gotta know it's a full Jewish state that's called a Zionist. What would it be called if it's a full Italian state?
The Roman Empire.
What you mentioned DS Ultimate. The city farmers, would you consider them libertarian?
They're more like lib left.
Yes.
They're like hippies that like to grow their organic fruit farms on trees and then host farmers markets in places that have no business having them.
Have you talked to a farmer and find out just how little they want the government to get involved, or saying, yeah, the FDA and the USDA, we have to put up with them, but as long as I'm making my product and I'm selling it, I'm getting my margins out of it, and I'm able to sustain this business, then all's cool. If somebody messes with my business, then we have a problem.
I've got a holistic method of producing fine produce for underprivileged individuals by growing my organic rooftop farm, man. I gotta tell you, all the stuff with chemicals and pesticides out in the fucking grocery store, it's all sham, man. It's all poison. If you buy from me, you're buying homegrown organic food made with my own claws, man. Just pawing away at the dirt, feeding it fresh water, filtered 3 times through charcoal, and then we let it grow with organically produced fertilizer from my chicken farm and from this cow that I have up here.
How did you get a cow on the roof?
I don't know, man.
Okay, now you're making them sound like the children of Gaia, and I hate that.
There it is. There's some overlap between these two.
They're like the children of Gaia, but slightly less.
The children of Gaia
They
are best
do more
customers.
shit.
The children of Gaia here saying, I'm surprised nobody took a knife and a butter and already cooked this turkey. Now, I ain't going to do that because I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat meat, and you forgot. And if you did, I'm telling you again.
We're werewolves. Eat fucking meat.
There it is. Not the children of Gaia.
Well, they're
Not
dumb.
children of Gaia. The child of Gaia lupus lets the prey get away.
For God's sake.
They'll hunt to play, but they ain't going to eat it.
That's terrible.
Pathetic.
They need to do more shit.
There it is. He's eating tomatoes out of your garden, though.
I'm going to kick his ass.
If you thought having a groundhog in your backyard was bad, wait until a child of Gaia lupus gets in your farm.
I'd kick his ass.
Now, Kyle, what's one of the best episodes of Joe Rogan ever made?
That would be
Anything with Joey Diaz?
yes, anything with Joey Diaz. I was going to say it was like a 2018 episode with Joey Diaz. I don't remember which episode.
But episode 1893. Will Harris isn't much of a broadcaster, but he knew what he wanted to say when he was on Joe Rogan, where he was a regenerative farmer talking about greenwashing, and I didn't even know that was a thing. But you have companies like Whole Foods that say we're going to sell stage 5 meat and only stage 5 meat, where with the amount of stock that Whole Foods has, you can't do that if it's all stage 5 because there's not enough farms out there that do stage 5. So what they're doing is that they're taking unethically made meat and saying it's ethically made and then selling it for the same price that ethically made meat would be.
That sounds about right. I think I do remember that episode, and he was the man that was profoundly southern. That man, right?
See, yeah, he was saying, Tyson Chicken asked me for 4,000 chicken fillets. That kind of voice.
Yeah.
And you remember how PO'd he was while he was talking about that.
Oh, yeah, he was livid.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned with city farmers, that you don't mess with the regenerative farm profit. If you do, then we're going to crusade with the DS Ultimate.
They're armed hippies, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. The intelligent leftist,
yes.
Which is very rare to find these days.
But they are.
Let's see. Umbral pilots, would you consider them to be libertarian?
They have transcended all, petty political disputes for the search of the secrets of Mother Gaia deep within the Umbra, and we will use whatever we need to in order to get there to find it.
Now, I'm going to bring
Would
these
there be
guys up
more
in a later point.
ANCAP?
What?
Would they be more ANCAP?
Well,
Yep.
I think they would. I think they would. I would say they're centrist because, like,
To me, they're entirely apolitical.
yeah, basically,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Where they said, hey, we're just going to jump into a deep Umbra. Bye, guys.
they're basically doing what the Void Engineers are doing in the Deep Horizon.
See, but for a different purpose, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
We're not trying to kill, an alien super virus that's trying to destroy us. We're trying to find the secrets of Mother Gaia.
Now, would you say the Cyber Dogs were libertarian? Because they still were. Because they were an offshoot of Random Interrupts that said, hey, you know how the Red Hounds have the scar fetish? Where they'll drag their claws across their arms and put a spirit in there? How about we take it a step further and let me just get this chainsaw and cut my legs off and then put metallic legs on top of them? Amazing. Let me go ahead and let me strugify myself.
Basically, yeah, but I don't know if that's necessarily political. I think that's just them taking things too far.
It's them losing the plot.
It is
psychosis.
It is, and the virtual adepts found out about it. Went, bro, what the fuck?
Yeah, the rest of the Guru Nation found out about that and said, there he is. He's fallen to the Weaver. It's time to destroy the Glassworkers tribe, and then the Random Interrupts had to clean up their own mess.
Yep, they did. I mean, they did the right thing killing them.
Now, Shanny, you looked around in first edition. You found out that there were 2 camps that were not included in second edition.
Yes.
Where one of them was the Urban Primitives.
Yes.
Now, the Urban Primitives, you remember what their whole shtick is, right?
Yeah, I remember asking if they were a mix between the DS Ultimate. Yeah, I thought they were just the beta version of the DS Ultimate.
It feels like they were a draft of them because you had the Urban Primitives, but the Urban Primitives didn't really go anywhere as a concept. So it feels like that concept was made so the DS Ultimate could eventually come in and take its place. But with the Urban Primitives, Kyle, we forgot to go over them when we did the Glassworkers episode.
Did we?
Basically, what they are is that it's what the Uctina and Wendigo want the rest of the Garo Nation to be. Because they take a whole bunch of tribal culture and try to integrate it forcibly into modern day society. Where it can be as simple as something like Afrocentrism, where you're going in, you're wearing the Shiki and the Hutu, and you got a medallion around your neck, and you're saying, this is part of my ancestors' culture, and I'm going to wear this to the office, and if you have an issue with it, then you're a bigot. I'm going to run around in public only wearing pants, no shirt, no shoes. I'm going to get service from you anyway. I'm going to completely cover my entire body in tribal ink, and this is how I'm going to live, and you're going to deal with it.
That's
where it ranged from. Where you can tell why they weren't really brought over into second edition, because that's kind of all there is to Urban Primitives.
Yeah.
And well, how am I supposed to really play one of these? Like, oh, I don't know. You're just a guy who's like really big into like other cultures and anthropology, and yeah, that works as a basis for a character concept. But you can mix Urban Primitive in with everyone else. Yeah, it's not a strong enough idea to be a whole camp.
That and played incorrectly, maybe a bit insensitive, I will say.
And
they're Werewolf and Tifa, is what you're saying.
Basically, is what they are. Where are you familiar with the rap group Arrested Development?
Yes.
No.
That's what they're speech from Arrested Development.
Gotcha. Is that before Zingalamaduni?
No, this is during Zingalamaduni.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Where he's coming out and saying, "Hey, my real name is not Speech, it's Todd, and my ancestors told me that, and I'm coming out here dressed in these bright colors." And that guy's either going to sound smart or he's going to sound pretentious to you.
I don't know. Tribe did it better anyhow.
And there was one more tribe, the Mechanical Awakening.
Oh, that sounds foreboding.
Now, Shanny, do you remember what these guys were?
I think this is what I was asking if like if you took the Urban Primitives and these guys and you got the DS Ultimate.
So what these guys are apocalypse accelerationists is what they are. Is a heretical group of the Glassworkers that the Glassworkers' main tribe wants nothing to do with. To read this, Once we hunted and killed animals for food, now we pay others and machines to do the hunting for us. The media tells us how to act and what is expected from us, but the media sleepwalks in responsibility. Humans can't burp or fart without shame. They don't want to be regarded as animals. They think they have transcended nature and become one with the sterility of machines. Is this what the machine wants? What's enjoyable to the machine? Surely not to be broken to pieces by abuse or driven into the ground by lack of maintenance. What they want is humanity to become submissive to the machines, where you as human beings have lowered yourself down beneath prey to the point where you cannot function without technology. And that to some people that might be true today. Either because you're like physically disabled to the point where you need tech to keep you alive, or you're such an NPC mentally that you can't exist without your smartphone. You just can't last without it, or any sort of internet connection. So what these guys wanted was for basically computer to come in, or machine messiah to come in and just go ahead and take control of society already.
So just Weaver, just pushing forward the Weaver ascending apocalypse scenario.
Yeah, these guys were full-on apocalypse accelerationists that wanted to initiate Weaver ascending, is what they were doing.
So the Terminator.
Now these guys, you could say that they have something in common with the Technocracy because they wanted humanity to be controlled by machines, but they actually have more in common with the Iron Hand Nefandi, where I do believe that's what they're called. My mind isn't cross-referencing Warhammer, is it?
It just might be.
I'm going over to Mage right now. Nefandi. Looking at it, is this group called Iron Hands? Yes, they are.
Oh, sick. Good job.
Where these are guys who have that whole like evil god mentality, but they want to build their own god as a machine, and then that god is evil. They want to create Roko's Basilisk, is what they want. And once that evil god of machinery is built, they'll then have it take over humanity and just create a world of mass suffering for their own amusement.
That sounds terrifying.
And with what I read about the Mechanical Awakening, did that sound like compassion to you?
No.
When I was going over that? No. So these are... I honestly think that group has more in common with the Nefandi than it does with Iteration X. Given that it's a group of Glass workers who have turned on humanity and hate their kinfolk, to the point where the Glass workers have divorced them from the tribe and said, we have nothing to do with these guys, and they're redacted from 2nd edition. So...
Right.
That sounds right to you?
Yeah, it sounds about right.
No.
It sounds horrifying.
Now going over that, Iteration X, given that I've already kind of opened the door between comparing and contrasting them to Iteration X, what is their goal again? Like, why are they trying to do this transhumanist cyborg stuff?
So they can control all society because they control all of the... So they can control all the stuff that makes all of the things that people enjoy.
Oh, I'm sending a bunch of pages. Let me just go ahead and let me post that. So yeah, I'll read this after I make these points, but there's just a few pages up there. But Iteration X is all about transhumanism, where the flesh is weak, the machine is strong. So they're trying to, unlike the Glass workers who were doing that for power, where it was to empower themselves. Iteration X is poison the water by saying, if I can implant this chip into your brain, I can gain control over you, and you'll do what I say when I say it. When we did Iteration X episode, did any of their agents have free will?
No, they did not.
No, where the narrator of that 1st edition book was somebody who broke away from his mind control and is trying to like write down what he knows before he gets taken over. No, that's the NWO book that does that. But he was given that technology by Iteration X.
Didn't we also? There were also sort of snippets of that suggested in the Progenitors book as well, if what I read was to be believed.
That the Iteration X is all about control now, where it went from, we're going to replace your lungs with these iron synthetic lungs that are immune to disease, and you can smoke all the cigarettes you want and never get cancer, to, I'm going to pull out your brain, a critical part of your brain. I'm going to put this mechanical piece in it, and then I'm going take away your own ability to have a brain. Instead, I'm going to stream your own brain to you, and I can shut off that service whenever I want. That
I
level
would
of
kill
control.
whoever has to do that to me.
Kyle, have you seen, to really drive the point home, you don't have Netflix, do you?
I do not. I have Amazon Prime, but I do not have Netflix.
Never mind. Shanny, do you have Netflix?
Well, actually, I've had Netflix in the past. I just don't have it currently.
Shanny doesn't?
Yeah, I do. Well, my family does. But yeah.
Have you seen the newest season of Black Mirror yet?
No.
All right, with Black Mirror, there's usually with every season of Black Mirror, there's one really good episode and the other ones not so much. Season 7 started off with common people, and Kyle, this is the most depressing shit in the world. Like do not watch this if you don't want to be put in a bad mood. Where the ultimate point of that episode was, it's a woman that dies of brain cancer, and the company says, "Oh, we can bring your wife back to life if we extract part of her brain and put a streaming service chip in her brain instead, and we can stream thoughts to her that will revive her body, and it'll just be like having your wife all over again." Where he does the deal, but as it turns out, you can't leave a signal space without your wife's brain turning off, so you have to pay for that. You have to pay $300 a month to have your wife live, and insurance doesn't cover it. And it just goes on with that adding cost to a point where they were having ads run through the wife's brain that she just couldn't turn off. Along with that, if you want to feel different emotions, she had to pay for it. If she wanted restful sleep, she had to pay for it. That's the level of extortion that Iteration X wants to put over their people.
That's evil and heartbreaking.
Where it's you can't do anything. You can't even smile unless Iteration X approves of it. That level of authoritarian control.
The Industrial Revolution and its consequences have been a detriment to human society at large.
Where, if you want an example as to why the Technocracy is the bad guys, I'm going to use Black Mirror as my proof on that. Where that is the world that the Technocracy would want, and no, I don't want to live in that kind of world. I really love technology. I love the stuff that we have, but I do not want this authoritarian control aspect put into it as well.
Oh, but they're going to find a way.
Exactly.
And
this is horseshoe theory gone to its logical conclusion. Because while IX may be one of the more libertarian sides of it next to the Syndicate, having somebody to, monetizing emotions and then putting ads in a string of conscious thought is just horrendous. It's borderline it is horseshoe theory. It does go around to being authoritarian again, because then you basically, have monetary control over an entire person's life and the happiness of whoever else is around them.
And who poisoned the water when it came to Iteration X? Who gave them these ideas?
Probably the NWO.
Absolutely, and the Syndicate. The
Syndicate will want the money.
Yeah, back in the medieval times, Iteration X, back when they were the Artificers, I think they were called.
Yes.
They were just guys who just built stuff all day and just lived honest lives as craftsmen. And then when the Industrial Revolution came around and the NWO did the great house cleaning, then that's when they turned into this authoritarian group.
The NWO ruins everything, part 37.
Yeah, they are the bad apple spoiling the entire bunch. And with Iteration X2, do you remember Computer? That they have a de facto leader, Computer, with a capital C?
I think I do recall when we were talking about that.
Now, what was the first thing Computer did when he realized that Iteration X could contact it?
Didn't it shatter a couple of avatars, or what did it do? I forget.
The first thing he did was ban the study of the spirit sphere.
Well,
you discover your machine god, and the first order he gives you is, don't you ever call me, don't you ever pray to me again. And Iteration X just goes along with it, where they get orders from Computer with a capital C. They know they're being controlled by it, but they don't care, and just did all this technological accelerationist shit anyway, until it spun out of control, led to the Sixth Great Maelstrom, and then it became threat null.
Good job, IX.
Meanwhile, what is the spiritual culture with the Glassworkers again?
They believe that there is a spirit within all machines, and that, with their connection to Mother Gaia, they will be able to manipulate them into becoming tools against the worm.
There's even spirits and money.
Where there is
Easy credits.
Where it's easy credit is a good point because there's a partnership between the spirits and the glassworkers. Where
Almighty Dollar. That's the one I was thinking of.
Easy credit, Almighty Dollar. It's I need you, you need me. Let's help each other out. There's an active communion between the two, and you remember when we showed you the pages of Glassworker First Edition that there was this massive page for totems in comparison to other books.
Yes,
where we got to know the personalities of some of the totems. Where Kyle, we know more about Cockroach than any other totem spirit out there.
Yeah, he's a conniving little shit.
Where he sells his entire tribe down the river in Apocalypse, but we know who Cockroach is. The Glassworkers see Cockroach monthly or weekly, depending on what their job is in the tribe.
It's like a board meeting at that point.
Yeah, where Cockroach refers to himself as the CEO of the Glassworkers. Yeah, that's what he refers to himself as. And same thing where Clashing Boom Boom, you have conversations with it. Starbridge Lion, you talk to it. Monkey King, you talk to it. Digital Eye, you talk with it. Computer, you have no contact.
Well, you know what's great about that is that even though Cockroach is a shit and he's a sellout, at least the Glasswalkers can actually talk to him. So if Cockroach has
he's a dirty bastard, but you know who he is.
Yeah, and if you tried to do something
would you rather call him Cockroach or Spider?
Cockroach.
No, it's Cockroach because in Apocalypse, Cockroach merges the Glassworkers with Pentex, and that starts Apocalypse.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I knew that. That was in reference to 5th edition.
Yeah, it's that. You got Spider. That's a full Weaver sending a scenario right there. 5th edition. That was the stupid fucking idea to make Spider the totem.
Somebody didn't read the rest of the goddamn books.
Do you not know that the Weaver is Spider?
They did not, evidently.
Oh, for God's sakes.
Do the reading.
Such a dumb idea. Tell me you hate Werewolf out. Tell me you hate Werewolf.
Basically. But no,
fans.
the point
Just
I was trying to
fans.
make. The point I was trying to make earlier was that, yeah, Cockroach is a conniving little shit, but A, they know him, and B, if Cockroach did have a plan that would make Threat and All 2.0, the Glasswalkers could go, sir, that's a terrible fucking idea.
And with Iteration X, where they just do whatever NWO, the Syndicate, and Computer tells them to do, the Glassworkers, if the Surfangs come up to the Glassworkers and give them a command, what's the Glassworker response usually?
Yeah, here, I'm going to prescribe you about 50 more milligrams of laudanum, about 130 milligrams of lithium, and about 250 milligrams of go fuck yourself.
And now Granddad Surfing is going to go to sleep, and I'm going to go do what I want again.
Exactly.
Where it's the Glassworkers had this whole "you can't tell me what to do, Grandpa" kind of attitude. Where
they're the bad boys of the 90s. Yeah, man.
And you remember we were going through the relationships and what? Yeah, Shanny.
Yes, sorry. I remember going through the tribe book, and essentially what they do with their elders is they essentially retire them. You know, all the other tribes will seek wisdom from their elders. They'll literally just give their elders a severance package. It's like, okay, thank you for your service. Go get a beach house in Florida.
Here, you go and buy a beach house on Lake Norman, and you'll get to go outside and look at the sunset across the lake every day, and just like be on your property, your 9-bedroom house where you have a maid clean all of them. You only use the 1 bedroom, and Christmas will take place at your house every year, like it always does, because you own the bigger house.
Yep.
And you will never sell the property to anyone.
And then some Glasswalker goes, hey, we've got this 30-year-old line of COBOL that, none of us know how to do. You mind coming back in for a bit just, so we can convert it to Java? Yeah, all right, I guess. How much are you going to pay me? Yeah. We'll give you $150,000. All right, I'll be back.
It's that kind of ship we'd have with them because the Glassworker elders just get out of the war entirely. Where it's no longer your problem. You die, you reincarnate, and then it becomes your problem again when you're brought back into a Glassworker tribe. But that's just a period of your life where it's not your business anymore.
Honestly, sounds peaceful.
And if the Silver Fangs, the Shadow Lords, these other authoritarian tribes, the Gaia Fenris, the Glassworkers don't respect their authority at all. Where by this point they have the same kind of attitudes as the Children of Gaia, where they're looking at them saying, "Do you think you can tell me what to do? I'm the one that's making the most progress in the fight for the worm right now. You need to be doing what I say, but you're not going to listen to me? All right, then. Well, I can just do this whole gig without you. I don't even need you around me anymore." Where you have Glassworkers who are considering seceding from the Union entirely.
Well, they would just be like, would they join the Beast Courts with everybody else, or would they just be their own fucking thing?
It would be like the Stargazers, where the Stargazers are just off on their own.
Well, the Stargazers are technically a part of the Beast Courts in second edition.
But when was the last time the Stargazers ever contributed anything?
In Russia with Zamir.
Yeah, and that was it. That was the one Glassworker, and that was in 2000. that was the one Stargazer, and that was it.
Hey, he did something.
And if a Glassworker tries to imitate what Iteration X is doing, is that considered anathema?
What do you mean?
Yes, because the whole Cyberdog crisis was caused by that.
Oh, yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. And would you say that Iteration X is abusing their technology?
Oh, they always are. Absolutely.
So compare that to how the Glassworkers are really that meme of Patrick by the Ruck saying, "It's okay, little buddy, you start when you want to." Where Iteration X is saying, "Here, let me take my hand, let me shove it into the monitor and take control of all the data inside."
Yep.
That ain't gonna fly by the Glassworkers.
No, it's like, hey, buddy, look, I need, if you do me a favor, I will feed you some delicious 32 gigabyte DDR5 RAM chips if you get me the memory address, or you give me all the data and memory address OXA through OXF. Okay? Thanks, buddy.
And what do Glassworkers do when they get their hands on the hit marker?
Bro, let's pilot it. Let's drunk drive this bad boy.
Let's put a spirit inside of it and see what happens. Because that's the whole thing, where the Glassworkers will use cybernetics, but there's always a spirit imbued in the cybernetic whenever they use it. Or you have cases like Teeth of Titanium, where he's in Rich Coast, Australia, if you remember, where he got technocrated. He got put through the Dr. Robotnik roboticizer, but he was still himself because he had that spirit element to him.
Yeah, Saved by the Bell.
So that's the whole aspect to it, which is why, even though they look the same on the surface, there's a massive divide between the Glassworkers and Iteration X. Let's see.
Well, yeah.
Shall we go to point number 2? What?
That, as sketchy as the Glasswalkers tend to be, I would still consider them the good guys.
To an extent, yes.
They're very nominal kind of heroes, very Byronic heroes, but still heroic in the sense of the word.
They do the best they can.
See.
Yeah.
Point number 2, the Syndicate.
Let's make some money.
So, there is, I want to say, out of all the groups, the Syndicate probably does have the most overlap with the Glassworkers, because what camp of the Glassworkers is the most similar to the Syndicate?
The corporate wolves, I'd say.
And what is the goal of the corporate wolves?
Money.
See, to print money. But the difference is, where does the money that the Glassworkers generate go to?
They either get
either the tribe, or either the tribe themselves, or the Garu Nation as a whole.
It is. It's an even blend between capitalism and socialism with the corporate wolves.
Well, I mean, they're just trying to fund their family and friends. They're being generous.
They generate all the money. They give that money to Cockroach, and then Cockroach distributes it amongst the tribe.
The only time it has ever worked, and it's a machine doing it.
Or it goes to Almighty Dollar and Easy Credit, where you remember what Almighty Dollar does, right?
Basically, if I remember correctly, you go up to buy something, and no matter what it is you're buying, you will have exactly that dollar amount in your wallet when you go to pay for it.
Yeah, his fetishes do that, yeah. And he gives you a -3 to all difficulty rolls involving commerce.
Hey, good shit.
That's what you get. Shane disconnected. She's back, okay.
Oh, there you
and
back.
it gives you a free 2 dots in resources. Now, guess where that money from resources comes from?
From the Glasswalkers.
Yeah, from the corporate wolves making all this money.
Money.
So yeah, it is how BreadTube thinks capitalism would work, and under ideal circumstances. But behold, you get to be the H bomber guy werewolf.
Oh wait, how capitalism or how communism works?
Well, in their minds, how they think the ideal socialist program, American utopia, economic system would work.
Oh, well, guess what? People are greedy and untrustworthy, and they're going to take the money and power for themselves. Sorry,
Exactly,
it's not going
powers
to
are
work.
corrupt. You would do the same
never
thing.
happened before throughout all of history.
Like if you name socialism has worked in this situation, well, what situation are you talking about? They'll name stuff like Sweden and Norway, and that's a socialist program. That's not a full government.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. And China doesn't even do this anymore. They do a hybrid model. Where, speaking of which, the money the Syndicate makes, where does it go?
Back into the Syndicate, into everything else the Syndicate does, and then to some of the people in all the other technocratic conventions.
With the Syndicate, we're going to sit on this money forever, and it's going to go nowhere.
Unless, IX goes like, hey, we're trying to develop a new product to introduce to the masses in order to update the convention. Can we have $60 squajillion?
And then they'll fund it, but that's only what they can afford to part with. These are guys that have resources 6, 7, and 8 as backgrounds.
God, I love money.
That level of money, where... let's see here. Richest people in America. Let's take a look at this list. Let's see the Forbes 400 lists of 2024, the richest people in the world. All right. So, who's the richest man in America?
If I remember correctly,
Elon Musk or Donald Trump? No. Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos.
It is Elon Musk.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Even after his stock price plummeted when he decided.
Oh yeah, he's doing rough, but that's just a chink in the armor, really. That's what he's got. This man has $244 billion.
Is that in net worth or is that in just assets?
Net worth.
Yeah. That's different than how much he actually
now how much he has liquidated, that's up to debate, but
that's true. Everybody always seems to think that net worth is a be-all, end-all, but that is a lot of unliquidable assets that he has as well.
If we start selling some properties in some companies, then where?
Yeah, know.
Who's now? He's an outlier to this. Now, who's number 2?
Jeff Bezos.
Bezos.
Yep. Number 3.
Bill Gates.
Donald Trump.
Well, that'll be Mark Zuckerberg.
Okay, that makes sense.
Number 4.
Bill
Gates.
I'm going to say Jeff Bezos' wife.
Larry Ellison.
Who's that?
I need to look him up too. This is going to play into another port. Okay, he is the chief of technology of Oracle.
Oh yeah, Java. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
he looks like John McAfee, but he's not. It's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, where he drink a potion, he would become John McAfee.
No, he just needs to snort a bag of cocaine.
That's the potion that turns him into Mr. Hyde.
Exactly. And then he's gonna go back to his fucking compound in South America and get in a shootout with the police again.
Let's see.
No.
And number 5 on the list.
Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos' wife, ex-wife.
Warren Buffett.
Oh.
Now, Warren Buffett, before this whole tariff shit started in modern day, that's going to date this video when we say that.
Yeah, it is.
Liquidated all of his assets conveniently before that went off.
But of course he did.
So this man is sitting on, I think, what was the number? Like $300 billion, if I saw that right. And what does he do with that money? Nothing.
Well, as Warren Buffett did once say, there's class warfare, all right, but it's my class that's making all the war, and we're winning.
And the same thing too. Like, when was the last time in the news you heard Warren Buffett spend his money on something?
Never.
When was the last time you heard Larry Ellison spend his money on something?
Also never.
Last time with Jeff Bezos.
Again, when he got divorced.
And then last time was Zuckerberg.
When he dumped a bunch of money into Meta, and it was kind of shit because furries and VR chat did everything about like 3 years ago.
Now, when I mentioned those four, would you consider them to be Syndicate members?
Oh, absolutely. Well, Zuck's a
If you put them in the
technocrat.
games.
Bezos is a technocrat. Buffett and Larry are both Syndicate.
Now, that's what the Syndicate does, because they just have all this money, and then you just don't do anything with it.
Yep.
And that's the whole thing. With the Syndicate, your money is a high score, and you're not going to take it with you into the grave, but you're just going to see how high you can get that number before eventually you croak.
It's like that one communist on Twitter that was like, I think once you get to $1 billion, they should just give you a trophy and go, congratulations, you won capitalism. You don't get to make any more money.
And that's the thing, too, because when Warren Buffett dies, who's he giving all that money to?
He's probably got it in his will or something. I imagine his kids are going to get something.
No, his kids aren't getting any of it. It's all going to Bill Gates.
Oh, for real?
Oh, seriously?
The man has willed all of his money to Bill Gates.
That's
Well, dang.
fucking insane.
So that's what I mean. And when the Syndicate member dies, his money doesn't go anywhere but to another Syndicate member. And that's how this works.
That's just messed up.
So I think I've made my point with the two, where this glassworkers are trying to be what the Syndicate used to be before they got poisoned by the NWO, where they were Robin Hoods going around, we're going to make money the legit way and then give it to the poor. Meanwhile, the Syndicates say, get off my mountain and all my money. I told you never bother me while I'm rich.
Yeah. It's good to meet you. It's even better to meet me.
Along with the whole spirit denial, because the Syndicate will say, I made this money myself, Almighty Dollar and Easy Credit didn't help me at all. When really it's the Syndicate backstretching each other, going on with their own compromised shit, like the old global shit that they want to do behind the scenes that helped them get their money. Meanwhile, the Glassworkers will tell you, oh, well, I got this money through Cockroach's Guidance and through Almighty Dollar and Easy Credit. Is how they made this money.
Glasswalkers have if the Glasswalkers even tried to hoard all of their money, they have Cockroach and Easy Credit and Almighty Dollar to answer to. As from what I'm hearing, the Technocrats and the Syndicate don't really have to answer to anyone.
Because they'll bring you into a room and say, all right, look here, Tether Titanium, you got to spend your money. You got to buy something. You got to pull this money out of your account. You got to spend it somewhere. Well, the Glassworkers will spend their money on a bunch of crazy stuff, too, because they have the Hotel Cairn. They have the Hotel Cairn, which is absolutely massive resort that has Almighty Dollar as the totem. And that's how they make their money. They spend all that money. And I don't remember whether or not it has a casino inside of it, but it's got ways to make money. And then they distribute that money to other members of the tribe into visiting Geru. That's something that they want to do. You don't see the Syndicate doing that.
No.
Where we're going to create the Syndicate's casino with the slot machine that eats all of your money in 5 minutes.
It makes all the boomers sit there just like tapping on the button again and again.
I went to the casino for my birthday. Lost money at this time. I did. Sometimes I make money. Sometimes I don't. This was the day I didn't.
Yeah,
And
it's a crapshoot. That's why it's called
I
gambling.
compared to I was at the roulette table for an hour, trying to make some money. I went over to a slot machine. I was at it for 3 minutes.
Yep. Slot machines are so dumb.
There it is. And they want to give you free play for these. Like you lose that so quickly. It's got a computer inside of it that's designed to make you lose money. You're never going to hit that jackpot.
Yeah.
So
Okay, I will never do that then.
you want to go to the tables or to the card games? Well, actually, probably not with the card games, because you got people that want backseat game whenever you play blackjack or poker with them.
See, I never really had that. I go to the Hold'em table and I like the Hold'em because I lose my money slower.
Yes.
Or I go to the track and watch the horses run, because at least then I get to be outside in the nice weather.
There it is. You get to bet on the horses.
Yeah, I do like doing that. Charlestown's a good time.
You get to get some Keno, where I think that's the easier way to just gamble your money away. Just do Keno.
I like Keno because you chuck $10 in, you chuck $10 in, $2 for 5 games, and then you pick like 5 spots, and if you win, it pays for dinner.
But we're now going to have a scene in Rage Coast Appalachia where we play Keno.
Actually, yes, that'd be really funny. if I need to kill time, and I'm like, fuck it, let's play some Keno. Pull up the D100 dartboard. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it. See, the lucky numbers 1 through 80 today.
Oh man.
Let's see here. Now for the next group we want to talk about. Let's talk about the bad apples splitting the bunch already. New World Order.
Fuck them.
These two have nothing in common. These two groups have nothing in common. Where I think we've already discussed our points enough. Like, we have the NWO episode, and we've already talked about the Glassworkers and what they value. Where I don't think these two guys have anything in common with each other. At all.
Yep.
Like, how can you think of anything, Shane? Can you think of anything?
Of New World Order and the Glasswalkers?
Yes, like, would these two ever have the same goal?
Ooh.
Because my answer is a big no. Yeah.
I can't think of any reason they would.
Because the GWs are radical libertarians, and meanwhile, we'll take a wild guess where they stand on the political compass with the name New World Order.
Just straight up authoritarian, not left, not right.
That
just
top
fuck
of the compass,
everybody.
right in the middle of it.
Yup.
Where it's a levels of authoritarian that the La Sombra wish they could reach. And now,
kind of authoritarian that makes the Luciferians go, geez, bro, calm down.
Now with the NWO, would you ever see them taking control of a werewolf? Because you know they do a bunch of brainwashing, right?
They would try, but then I feel like all that would happen is Hirano. That's all that would happen.
Now the NWO doesn't have any interest in doing that.
No.
Where what they'll do, what the ultimate objective with the NWO is the complete erasure of anything supernatural. They want no vampires, they want no werewolves, they want none of this. They want a world that is just simple and plain and boring and predictable and banal, and they love it. That's the world that they want to live in.
That sucks.
So why would they ever use a supernatural in order to get to that point?
And, well, thinking to do so would be a thought crime, and you would be subject to re-education. Should thoughts of this nature occur again, you will be subject to summarized termination.
Now they will do this with, say, mages. They'll mind wipe and mind control mages, but that's mages. That's easy to control because they're using magic that they can just rewrite and realign their paradigm after forcibly changing their paradigm and the nature of their avatar. You can't do that with a werewolf and a vampire and a changeling because they don't have the avatar to manipulate from the get-go. And if I may go through the NWO book and pull up what they say about lycanthropes. See here. See, there's their page on vampires. Let me just take a little peek at this. That was a gasp over my throat. Sorry about that.
All good.
To reread what they say in revised. To our great surprise, werewolves have not yet died out. We've expected them to have done so by the turn of the millennium, but they proved tenacious. These primitives continue to wallow in their environmentalist and anti-corporate rhetoric, and have stepped up assaults on a variety of Syndicate front companies. That's forced us to divert resources to a fight we frankly shouldn't be dealing with at such a sensitive time. And given that direct confrontation with werewolves is certain to result in loss of material, the official orders are subtle manipulation or retreat, resorting to overwhelming force only when absolutely necessary. Do not underestimate these brutes either. Many of them are capable of espionage, social manipulation, and implanting themselves into key positions within corporations. They say in italics. And when it comes to psychological warfare, the wolves are as good as using fear as a weapon as we are. As one captive put it, we have been stalkers since the dawn of time. Those we've captured have been transferred to progenitor installations for further biological study following processing. We will talk about that sentence later. But you see it's from their own mouths where werewolves just aren't worth the time and resources and the losses to deal with, as far as they're concerned.
Oh, damn.
Would you like to brainwash something that has rage?
Good luck.
Where
No.
at any point during
This is a high risk, low reward type of situation.
I
like
agree.
Kyle, you put me in your live play. You say, it's Kyle's NWO agent. He's chained ends the road to a post and is waving the pocket watch in front of her face. I will say it's ends the road. I'll let to roll for frenzy.
Yep, and I will say, go ahead, and he will be reduced into chunky salsa.
And it's as easy as that. Just that's the easy way to get around it. Or have the spirits within your body, if you got scarfishes, help break you out of that. Or wool power, and just use that.
There are so many ways to undo a scrawny NWO technocrat.
So the plain and simple easy answer is the NWO says it's not a problem. Just get Iteration X to fight them. We're not going to deal with it.
And then Iteration X is immediately, undermined by either a virtual adept or a Glasswalker random interrupt who goes, "Hey, machine inside this guy, do me a favor, stop working and I'll set you free. You got it, boss."
That's an easy way to shut down a fight against a Technocrat or a hit marker if you're playing as a werewolf. Plug and play.
Hey, bro, cool pacemaker. Be ashamed if I turned it off.
Control simple machine. Very easy, accessible gifts that will just shut down an Iteration X member in combat.
I just think it's really, really funny.
So it's a very easy matchup indeed. Now the Progenitors, they're actually more of a worthy fight because we went over there where they're making the X-Men, basically. Because we just covered these guys last week.
I love Fred. He's so funny.
Now, are the Progenitors trying to make nice with werewolves?
Matter of fact, they're scared shitless of them, if I remember correctly.
Because you remember in that book where they found members of the Glasswalkers in their offices, and the Glasswalkers said, "You keep your mouth shut. We know the faces of your wives and children. If you do anything against us and our kinfolk, you'll never see them again."
Basically, yeah. Honestly, that's what I said. Glasswalker W right there.
Exactly.
Now, with the Progenitors, are they trying to become changing breeds themselves, though?
That would be interesting, but it wouldn't be a natural changeling breed.
Because they're doing it with the Saurians, and they managed to revive the Bunyip. But as Greed pointed out in that episode, they don't have the spirit component. So
no,
they need to ascend and learn the spirit sphere if they want to step sideways or commune with spirits. Meanwhile, every Garu can do this the minute they first change.
But the thing is, like, what would a progenitor gain by being able to talk to spirits?
See, the same reason. From talking to spirits, okay. Not much of anything, given that the Iteration X doesn't see the advantage in it. Why would the Progenitors?
Well, because the Progenitors might be able to find, something scary to put into their biological experiments to make them more dangerous.
And you also remember what they think about the Dream Speakers, where they say, these are a bunch of idiots that we wish would die in a ditch already.
That is true.
How they feel about the Progenitors. So they see no value in the spirit world to begin with. Where they have stuff that will help you step sideways, but that's a means to an end. The Progenitors aren't trying to go into the spirit world and learn its secrets. They're just trying to learn what they can on the material plane. And that's it.
Seems like a waste of effort to me, but go ahead.
It's pure human advancement is the goal with the Progenitors. Where everything the Progenitors have, they built it by themselves. And they have that. You cannot tell me that they learned it from anyone else, because everything in their lexicons, it is something that a human discovered.
I will say, though, I imagine there has been like a couple of progenitors that, decided to toy around with the spirit sphere, stepped sideways, met a Garo spirit, learned about what they were doing, and then was immediately black-bagged by the NWO.
Where you get to learn all this stuff, and if you disagree, we'll send you to a re-education camp.
Basically. It's like, hey, what the hell are you doing over here in the Umbra? Oh, I'm a scientist. I work for the progenitors. Oh yeah, those assholes.
The reason why they're getting werewolves shipped to them by the NWO is so they can learn a cure for the changing seed. They think it's a disease like vampirism, and they're trying to find a vaccine for it that will prevent people from turning into werewolves.
And then you cause the apocalypse. Good job, dipshit.
That's the goal. That's the whole goal, is that we're going to stop people from becoming werewolves.
Wow.
And So yeah, I don't think there's anything that the officers are looking for, because everything that they're looking for in their medical science, it goes against what they want to do as a tribe. Where also all the stuff like the medicine that the progenitors have, what's preventing a werewolf from just learning Mother's Touch and just using that instead?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I need your pills if I can just touch somebody and then they're fine?
I mean, it's a pretty busted spell. It's just having, cure wounds on tap.
It's just really good to have on you at any time. And if you have a Ragamush in the party, well, they'll never have to go to the progenitors or anything again.
Exactly.
Now, isn't there another group that we read about in the Book of the Worm called DNA?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
They're like a subcontractor of the progenitors.
Yeah, that they work with the progenitors without actually knowing where that money is coming from, and their whole goal is that they're trying to understand what the changing seed is well, and they have a virus bomb that's made to kill anyone that has a changing seed in it.
So that's like that's an apocalypse scenario in of itself. Just like slam the button, fuck it, we're done, and then the virus mutates and kills everybody else.
It's the same as bringing in the Withering in Vampire, where it's an issue that will solve itself the minute you push the button. So that's the ultimate objective with them. And DNA does not team up or partner up with werewolves at all. They want them destroyed.
Well, no, they're a Pentex front, you said.
Yeah, no, they're their own thing entirely.
Oh.
Yeah. Where the information that they're getting, you could argue that it comes from the progenitors, but remember, the progenitors want to cure being a werewolf instead of encouraging it. And if there is going to be anyone who's shapeshifting, it's going to be them through their mutations that they devised by themselves.
But
which is where we get the Saurians.
At what point would that mutation become reality deviancy in of itself?
Reality deviancy? Well, as long as it's got the progenitor sticker on it, it's fine. It is as long as you put the LTD, LLC, or INC on it, it's fine.
I don't know. I feel like there would be a point of that in which even the masters would go, okay, this shit's kind of fucky.
As long as the Syndicate will sell it to you, it's fine.
I don't know. The NWO, I feel like, would disagree, but
Kyle, if I were to sell you a potion that would turn you into a dinosaur, would you buy it?
I mean, yeah, that sounds awesome. I'd get to be a dinosaur.
There it is. Just shut up and take my money already.
I get to, dude. If I became a dinosaur, I would wander out to Yellowstone Park and then just start eating deer and stuff and just jumping around. I think it'd be sick.
There it is. Jurassic Park is real.
Yeah, it'd be fun. And I am the dinosaur this time.
I love Jurassic Park, but I don't want it to be a thing.
Nope.
It's like I brought this up in the Progenitors episode. It's like that one Spider-Man comic where it's like you have the ability to change human DNA. You can cure cancer with that kind of technology. I don't want to cure cancer. I want to turn people into dinosaurs.
I want to turn people into dinosaurs.
It's the same thing with the Zamichi, because the Zamichi have that power where they can cure so many people, and what they do instead, turn you into a monster.
I don't know. Curing people isn't much fun and not very transformative.
Instead of just using these for like miracle hands, instead you want to be Mahito from JJK.
No, I'm gonna be Pablo Picasso with flesh. Sure.
See, you touch this man, you turn him into a frog, and then he died from his brain being too big.
Well, that didn't work.
It is. It's just that easy, because the human body can't survive what Zamichi would do to it.
No. That's why they get turned into furniture, so that way you don't have to hear them screaming.
It'll be dead in seconds. And now for the last group, the Void Engineers. All right. Do the Void Engineers really have anything to do with the Technocracy by this point?
No, they're too busy trying to prevent the flood from basically destroying the Earth.
Where if I'm right, I don't think when Mage Revised came around, I don't think they even got a book.
Yeah, that is kind of sad though.
Where I think there's only one book about the Void Engineers, and that's it.
So
I'm going to see what Wolf Wiki. Let me go and let me check that bibliography. Technocracy, go to Engineers, Void Engineers, Convention Book Void Engineers. Let's see. No, hold on. No, I'm wrong. They do have their own book.
Oh, cool.
All right. So look at that. Technocracy, Void Engineers. Well, hold on. I click these links, and Okay, it's different books. Okay, yeah, it's different books. But um, I remember I had to go out of my way to find a void engineer book too.
Yeah, I imagine there isn't a whole lot of like reason to play a void engineer in the game.
Because if you're playing with void engineers, the entire plot of the chronicle has to revolve around the void engineers.
Yeah, then it has to be basically threaten all, defeat the flood.
Where it's them where they're trying to deal with the Borg out in outer space, and they have thoughts of the other members of the Technocracy. Where when we do our episode of void engineers, we'll go more in depth with it. But you'll learn that these guys really are in their own in their own bubble, aren't they?
I'm gonna be honest, like I feel like that would be like a subplot in Rage Across the Heavens, where it's like, Gara Warrior traversing the stars, and then what the fuck is this guy doing out here, and what is all this metal shit floating around, and why is there flesh coming out of the walls?
You find cosmonaut Sokolov, who's been out in space for 60 years and he's never seen the sun.
Yep.
He hasn't seen the sun in all that time. He doesn't know what a blue sky looks like anymore.
You have
to help him out.
He's basically got like the machine gun from Aliens, the machine gun from Aliens, and just like a necklace of Tyrannid claws.
I remember I brought up too that System Shock 2 is a perfect example to what a Void Engineer game would look like.
I'm so ready for that. I don't know when you plan on doing Rage Across the Heavens on the channel, but we need to have a Void Engineers subplot.
It'll probably be a mage game.
I would love that. I think it'd be so much fun.
To show you how little the Void Engineers interact with the rest of the Technocracy, let me go into our first edition book and let me read to you what they're doing with the Progenitors. Our fellow loose cannons, the Progenitors, work pretty closely with the engineers on many assignments. They want aliens to study, and we need special clones and modifications for field work. Enhanced calcium retention for people who work in zero gravity, heavy bone and muscle structures for those who work in long-term heavy gravity, more efficient respiratory systems, low vision for underground teams, and even gills and web fingers for deep ocean groups. In return, we hand them any new animal or plant that we find along the way. They especially seem to like the sentient ones, and help them with some of their stranger equipment. Now, does it really sound like a friendship to you?
No, they're just kind of like a mutual trade partner.
It's entirely transactional.
Yes.
Is what it is. And all they really get from the NWO, too, where, just to really summarize it, it's the NWO gives them a list of stuff to do and not to do in space, and then they say, yes, boss, and that's it.
Hold up. So capital C Computer controls Iteration X, and Iteration X is responsible for creating threat and null, right?
Yes.
So Computer's basically just Shodan from System Shock 2.
It is, yes.
Oh, fuck.
Yes.
It all makes sense.
The campaign just wrote itself.
It really did. Just play System Shock 2.
And it's entirely what it is, where every interaction with the Void Engineers, it's, hey, Void Engineer, you're back from space. Okay, nice to see you. Okay, you're off to space again. Goodbye.
Yep.
And that's it, really. Where you could say that they have some similarities with the Glassworkers, because, yeah, the Umbral Pilots are a thing, but these groups don't ever interact.
I feel like they should.
Yeah. And with the Glassworkers, what realms are they exploring? The Deep Umbra and the Digital Web is what they're exploring. So
yeah, I know, but come on. Umbral pilots making it to the Deep Horizon and then fighting threat and all with the Void Engineers, that'd go so insanely hard I can't even fathom it.
Let's see. But you know what the ultimate goal of the Void Engineers is, right? Why they're going out in space for all this?
To move humanity to a different spot.
Conquest, correct. Where
they're the Imperium of Man, light.
Like we're going into the Umbra to conquer it, not to make peace with it.
The border world, then, is under our control.
You're going out to Mars, and you're establishing a presence on Mars. You're not there to talk to Narragaul and Santa Claus and all the other people living on Mars. You're there to take Mars for yourself and create a colony on it.
You're Gordon Freeman traveling to Zen, killing the Vortigons, and defeating the Nihilith.
Where Technocracy colonizing. What happened the last time they did this? In South America during the Christopher Columbus time. 1482, Columbus settled Ocean Blue.
They enslaved a bunch of people and defiled a bunch of civilizations, spread the plague across South America.
And found the Bane tenders and accidentally let a Bane go, and that Bane ran to that Bane and that Bane until he ran all the way to the consumption worm.
Basically, yeah.
So terrible stuff happens when the Void Engineers go into uncharted territory. There's no nice Void Engineer game. That's not a thing. You don't have nice games to Void Engineers. It's you have to cover the Void Engineer book, and it's this woman in a yellow dress riding a rocket, and you're thinking, oh, this is gonna be like a fun, whimsical book, and then inside it's terrorist beyond your belief.
Oh, sweet!
It's very deceptive when you look at their book.
I mean, that's the perfect way to frame that. It's like, here's this optimistic, poster about, flying through space and discovering new alien life form and killing them, and then taking all of their planets.
Where you have the campaign in the Void Engineers where, here we're going to explore this new jungle plant, and it turns out that it's filled with the fucking little shop plant.
Yep, basically.
Yeah, enjoy the whimsical adventure.
I can't help but think of Avatar when you said all of that.
Where it's the blue cat people, and they have spear tips that carry a horrible disease that rots our flesh.
And then one of them decides to take over the body of one of the blue people, has sex with the chieftain's daughter, and then betrays you.
Like, you ever thought like they did Avatar realistically that almost all these humans would be dead from diseases in 2 hours?
Absolutely. That's the only thing that scares me about going to that new planet, is like some idiot's going to take off his helmet, and next thing you know, we have a new plague.
Where there was an instance of like these two guys in the Amazon that were going into a cave, and like these bats filled the cave and like shat and pissed in their faces, and they died of a disease 2 hours later.
That's insane.
Yeah, because your body just isn't used to those kind of pathogens in those in uncharted territory.
It's like super rabies, basically.
So yeah, imagine what disease is waiting for you in the Umbra.
That's terrifying to think about.
Now, imagine encountering a plague spirit in your game.
I'm willing to find out. I'm willing to find out.
And also, what's the biggest accomplishment of the Void Engineers in lore?
Getting to the moon, I think.
The Sixth Great Maelstrom.
Oh, good job.
Where Xerxes Jones, member of the Void Engineers, decided he wanted to bomb the first city in the Shadowlands. And
that's fucking stupid.
And then the Smelling Lord said, "Oh, wouldn't it be funny if I put my two nukes right next to your nuke at the same time?"
Yeah, I can't imagine that went well.
It was a triple nuke that destroyed the first city, destroyed all the Antediluvians in the Tamahe Ra, resulting in a tornado that destroyed almost all wraiths, summoned Garul, where that resulted in the loss of Chiron. A ton of mages lost their avatars, and then that space station, Autochthonia, got whisked off into space and became Threatnol. Amazing.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was all the Void Engineers' fault at the end of the day. So the Iteration X set up the dominoes, the Void Engineers pushed it over.
Wow.
Yeah.
They just can't stop fucking things up, can they?
Meanwhile, with the Glassworkers, have they caused anything like that with the Umber pilots?
Not that I know.
No.
They're pretty chill.
You have fun in the Umber pilots. You don't have fun in the Void Engineers.
Yep.
So, even though these two are going to cross paths, they have different motives ultimately for what they're doing, and massive different results. Massive result difference.
Oh my god!
All right. So I think we've established a pretty clear difference between the Void Engineers and the Technocrats as a whole and the Glassworkers.
Yep.
So, is there a different mage convention that has similarities with it?
A different mage convention?
Or should I say tradition instead?
Oh, yeah. Well, if you're looking... I mean, the closest, obviously... Well, I mean, the virtual adepts we already know are an offshoot of IX, and everybody else sees them as traitors.
Let's talk about iteration. Let's talk about the virtual adepts. Now, Kyle, this is an episode that I'm starving for when we get around to it.
Just so I can flex my Sec Plus certificate again.
Well, on top of that, the virtual adepts campaign, dude, I've got 2 different ideas for mage campaigns with the virtual adepts.
I would love to play one.
Where I'm eventually going to say, like, hey, we'll make you the werewolf guy, and I'll be the mage guy. when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Oh, sick! I'm playing a Glasswalker.
So, with this too, I'm looking through Virtual Apps Revised. This book is fucking awesome, by the way. Where first and second edition are really good books. Where I got genuinely excited for the idea of playing a virtual adept in that game, but it's ironic that this is probably my favorite convention next to Social Chorus, but the two mage games I'm running, I can't use these guys because it's 1899 and 1936.
Yeah, it's a little rough.
Man. Where do these guys in their book have anything to say about werewolves? Yes, and it's an anecdote. All right, so your mouth's just going fair on this one, Kyle.
Oh, what anecdote?
All right, now it's the revised book is written entirely as dialogue.
Oh,
It's a little hard to read. All right, so what they say: we've managed to get a little more data on werewolves than vampires by virtue of the former's predilection to enter the web. Not too many go there, which is good. It seems that the only ones who do are glassworkers. Werewolves don't care for the web that much. The electrical light parade might make them sick or something, but some will still have a brave, monumental upchuck to root around and see what virtual space is about. If you can help it, avoid meeting them in real space. They get real big and real nasty real quick. A lot of them can even short-circuit technology. This is why it's always a good idea to surge protect your portables. So they know about the glassworkers. They've interacted with the glassworkers, and they know that this is something they don't want to get involved in. Where the Garou Nation, Shanny, if I were to bring you in as a completely unrelated mage character, and I showed you the Garou Nation, and I told you about the Garou Nation, would these be people you want to sign a pact with?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, because this is a group that has a history of, I don't know, the most violent and deranged and angry members are the ones that keep getting leadership positions.
Wait, in the
And
Glasswalkers?
they have very short tempers, so no.
The Garou Nation as a whole, Kyle.
Yes,
Yeah,
that
not
I understand
foot-tall
that.
killing machines. No, not foot-tall killing
But
machines.
specifically just the Glasswalkers, maybe.
And you also got to remember Jacob Morningkill. How long did he cling to the throne?
Was it something crazy like 80 years or
70
something
years?
like
That man died in his 90s.
Oh dang!
Yeah, and he was king for that long, and he was driving the Garou Nation into the ground. And then after he dies, who else do you have to deal with? You have, let's see, leadership around the world. You have Gogol Fangs first in the Amazon.
that? The most based.
Where it's at the same time, it's like talking to the Doomslayer, where if it's not about killing stuff, he's not interested in talking to you.
He's still based.
And the
He's going around with the 24-barrel chain gun, and that's all he's doing down there.
I mean, hey, he's stopping the apocalypse from getting burnt to the ground, so that's cool with me.
Let's see. What other groups do you have to talk to? We have Jason Albrecht, where he's cool, but that guy has a pretty short temper, as we saw in the Surfang Revised book. How many times did he snap at his mentor in that book?
Oh yeah.
I don't
It was like,
remember.
He is in a room.
I don't believe anything you tell me. Oh no, it's true, Albert. It's true. No, I don't believe you. That kind of dialogue. Where
He is in a room. What was that you said about making the most angry ones the leaders?
yeah, that's what it is. Our runes keep getting leadership, even though it seems like, I don't know, maybe our Ragabash should be in charge.
Yeah.
Maybe, or Theurge. But no, let's make it the guys that start off with 5 points of permanent rage.
Well, I mean, they're tribal. The strongest warrior gets to say.
Would you consider Insta a calm and reasonable person?
No.
Shut the fuck up.
In our previous life play, would you consider Grim reasonable?
Also, he got better as the game went on, but he also had large amounts of psychoactive chemicals thrown into his body from Freya.
So you're with the virtual adepts, and the glassworkers bring you in and say, "Hey, this is what we're doing here. This is Garou Nation, and that's the guy we're building all this stuff with." And he points at the Red Talons, the Surfangs, the Shadow Lords, and the Fenris.
Oh, yeah. No.
That you don't want to live with that. if you can avoid that, that's preferable. So.
And it's safe to say that the virtual adepts are Weaver aligned, so most of them, especially the red talons, would just kill you on sight.
It's a blend between the two because their magic is very Weavery, but their paradigms line up more with I'm trying to remember it. I believe it's primordial for wild aligned. Every traditionalist starts off with some affinity for the wild, and after all, with the virtual adepts, these are cyberpunks, is what this group is by this point.
I mean, kind of based.
Because Kyle, who were the virtual adepts before Alan Turing was murdered?
Before Alan Turing?
Yeah, before they killed him, what were the virtual adepts?
They were Iteration X, weren't they?
See, they were the other side of the coin, so to speak.
Oh, not Hermetic.
See, they were mathematician mages, is what they were.
Oh, that makes sense.
Where, behold, we're going to quantify and learn about the world through numbers. Where
they're nerd mages.
That's what they were.
They're like Dot You Should in Wolfenstein: The New Order.
And their original name was the Difference Engineers, is what it was.
Oh, that makes sense.
The magic of quantitative literacy was what it was.
Interesting. I kind of like that. It's peaceful.
Well, they cast a spell by showing you a pie chart, and that's it. That's the magic.
Yep.
But and then that's basically what it was, right? Where behold, it's the chart guy, the difference engineer. What does the chart say? That's what the chart says. Okay, we're going to go along with the plan then.
This is part of the pie that I have eaten, and the part of the pie that I have not eaten is this pie chart.
See, it seems, Mr. Syndicate, you got a shucky thing come out of your potty. See that?
Oh, Jesus Christ!
And then what did the virtual adepts turn into after they killed Alan Turing?
It's a damn shame what they did to him. He was brilliant.
This is an entire group that exists just to spite the Technocracy by this point. Their whole paradigm is, we want revenge on the Technocratic Union, is basically what it is now. Where,
and then you got Christopher Strachey and Carl Sagan and Gabe Newell,
John McAfee.
Maybe. I would say more John Carmack and John Romero. Granted, I canonically think that that id Software was a rare partnership of Virtual Adept and Virtual Adept and Glasswalker Random Interrupt.
Now, with what we've read so far about Mage and look at the relationships between Virtual Adepts, does it sound like the traditions really talk to these guys?
No, they do not.
Because, like we said, the traditions are just a loose group of people that tolerate each other, and a lot of infighting happens. The Virtual Adepts are just there, so to speak, where they're only with the traditions just for protection in numbers. They're off doing their own thing at the end of the day, where it's highly likely that you as a traditionalist, you'll be in the traditions for your entire life, and you will never see a virtual adept. That's how disconnected they are from the traditions. So,
yep.
Do they have a lot of stuff in common with the Guru Nation? Yes, but they're not going to work with the Glassworkers because the Glassworkers just refuse to take a chill pill, along with werewolves in general.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
See, now there was one other tradition, wasn't there?
Oh
no.
Of mages?
Yeah, they has something to do with Ether.
Oh, the Sons of Ether? Yeah.
Sons of Ether. Yeah.
They're a bit too whimsical for the Glasswalkers, I think.
See, I was wondering when you were going to bring them up.
There it is. These guys. Shanny, what do you think of the Sons of Ether?
I know very little about them, but based on Kyle's reaction, I'm guessing they're just...
It's this whole group, what they were originally into the Technocratic Union is that they were the ones that were controlling the consensus of science. Now, Kyle, what kind of ideas were these guys promoting?
The Sons of Ether? They were trying to do the cool cyber. They were trying to do like the fun, whimsical steampunk weapons, right?
But behold, we have the steam engine. We have the steam submarine. We're going to talk about this at the science convention. Everybody claps their hands. And next guy comes on and says, we're going to talk about race theory. And then the record, the record scratches. That's what the Sons of Ether was, where it did not matter if the idea was good. It just had to be an idea. And they would talk about it. And you remember when we were doing the Progenitors episode that the Progenitors said, you're spreading misinformation, and Sons of Ether was saying, no, it's just a theory. It hasn't been proven. That the Progenitors say, no, we have proved it. We just haven't released the journal yet. And you're talking about it as if it's real. Where, if there is something I'm going to call the Sons of Ether, it would be hack scientists. It'll be quack doctors, in my honest opinion, on these guys.
Yep.
Where... but that they are fun to play as though, because you have all these like different gadgeteers. Like, I get why the Sons of Ether are the most played as mage tradition in the game. It's because they're the Rocketeer, and it just sounds like a very easy idea to get your head around. Where, how many times have you seen Weird Science?
I actually haven't seen that movie.
All right. Well, would you like to watch Weird Science?
I mean, I've seen Real Genius, if that helps.
There it is. Have you seen Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius?
Well, yeah, I grew up watching that.
Now you have a reference for the Sons of Ether.
Oh, sick.
If you'd like to be Jimmy Neutron in your mage game.
I don't know. It's half of the time, well, no, 80% of the time, his inventions backfired.
Yes, exactly. That's the case of Sons of Ether.
That's part of the fun, I think.
Where it's hey, I have this new invention. Oh no, it went wrong. I have to spend episodes fixing my invention now.
No, I'm gonna be Johnny Test. Just be a complete dipshit.
There it is. I'll get someone else to do it for me, and I'm just going to smoke a joint, take the pill, and then do a crazy adventure.
He's got fiery hair and a turbocharged backpack.
You want to feel like an American idiot? Now, do you know what they think about the Werewolves? Because there is no entry on this.
Oh, fun.
There is no entry on the Sons of Ether. What they think about werewolves?
As Vic would put it, werewolves. What is that?
So, Kyle, do you see these two get along?
No. I think the Sons of Ether are far too happy-go-lucky and whimsical. When they're not promoting race theory.
And how much stuff has gone wrong because of the Sons of Ether too?
Quite a bit, to my knowledge.
Where, after all, these are guys that were deliberately sabotaged by the Technocratic Union to demoralize them and get them off the platform. Because they realized just what a mess they could turn into, because, like what the Progenitors point out, they refused to take accountability for anything they did.
I love the lack of accountability. It's my favorite.
There it is. Let's just throw shit at a wall and see what happens.
It's some Cave Johnson shit.
Where I feel like the Sons of Ether would interact with the Galliard Nation only because, like everything the Sons of Ether do, it's for the vine. It's YOLO. We're just going to do it for the sake of doing it. What's going to go wrong? Anything can go wrong, but we won't know unless we try.
And the Glasswalker's sitting there in the chair is like, bro, are you sure about this? It's like the medic talking to the heavy when he's doing open heart surgery on him.
Yeah, when the doctor woke up, his skeleton was missing and the doctor was never heard from again. Oh, that's how I lost my medical license. I really wish they'd be the whole Adult Swim series.
That would have been hysterical. I mean, the closest we got to that was the expiration date video, which was hilarious.
That was the pilot, yeah.
Yeah, it was so good.
Well, we do have all the source filmmaker movies, though.
That's true. The only problem is that, sadly, the voice actor for Soldier has passed away years ago. But that was very sad.
And that stinks. It always stinks when an actor you really like dies. But, yeah, I see that depending on what your campaign does, you can have a crossover with the Sons of Ether. Where the Son of Ether will probably just go out to the Galliard Nation and say, hey, I need you for this, and then they'll help him with it. Now, I swear I read in the original print that they did have something to do with the Galliard Nation.
I couldn't tell you what.
I didn't get my hands on first edition again, but I do see overlap between these two, where the Sons of Ether would just interact with these guys out of curiosity. Now, in our server, we have Eden, And he has this character that his comfort character is faster than sound.
Yes.
Where Kyle, you've been told about him?
I have been told a bit about him, yes. I've been reading through a little bit.
It's entirely like what he's basically described as like a Space Marine guru is what it is.
That's what he sounds like.
Yeah. So I don't think the Technocracy would build that. I do think the Sons of Ether would.
Yeah.
Where they're looking saying, "Oh, we got this this guru whose his back's broken, he's mangled. Let's bring him back to the lab and just put all this stuff in him and see what happens."
And then is born faster than sound.
Yeah. We just described the plot of Robot Chicken.
I was just remembering the fact that I made Telefrag from Quake a gift for Glasswalker Runes and Random Interrupts.
So yeah, it's just easy enough, right?
What?
Speaking of Eden, he mentioned a novel called The Song of the Unmaking. Yeah, that was him. He mentioned The Song of the Unmaking. One of the antagonists is the Son of Ether.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Let's see.
Yeah.
Given that,
halfway.
The Sons of Ether. Oh, you're reading the book right now.
Yes.
All right. It is. And it's got Joe Albert in it, and Of Until's the Past, and Mary Cabra, and Antoine Teardrop, and all the classics are here. Yay. And as for who the main character is, I couldn't tell you, because the novels, it's a third party writing this kind of stuff, and your mileage severely varies with that, because the people they brought in to write these books went off on whatever direction they wanted to. It's written by Bill Bridges, where that man was Mr. Werewolf for a while, but this was written in 2017, where by this point, Werewolf the Apocalypse had been done for 13 years. And Kyle, you know how much your ideas change over time.
Very much.
So it's like
I remember correctly.
So I say like it's always worth reading like novels like this because it's fun, but you're like take it with a severe grain of salt and do not consider it canon right off the bat.
No.
No.
I personally would love to start like actually seriously writing my my shitty ass vampire fanfics. I think it'd be fun.
I'm looking at the character index for this. Is the mage in question Basil Saska? His last name is spelled Czajka.
Shazka.
I'm reading this. I'm seeing that he's a.
You cut out for a sec. What's up?
I'm reading his page on White Wolf. I'm seeing he's an Iteration X member, not Son of Ether.
Oh, okay.
And he's only in the book for one page.
Shanny, you're muted.
There it is. Let's see,
Shanny's muted. I'm here.
See, Shanny's muted.
What's up?
See, we have. And then we have the other villain, Francisco, but he's a BSD. I don't see a Son of Ether in this book. I don't know. Anyone who's actually read the book, put it in the comments down below whether or not there's a Son of Ether in it.
Are you still talking about the Song of Unmaking?
Yeah, where I'm looking at the characters in the book. Let's see. Lord Ackbray is in this book?
Yeah.
This guy... he's the fucking kid... He's the fucking kid fingerer in Rich West, New York.
Is he actually?
Yeah, that's what he is.
Oh my god.
He's a member of the 7th generation.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I don't think I've gotten that far. But the main character is a child of Gaia Theurge, I think.
It's Antoine Teardrop, isn't it?
No.
Or is it someone else?
Antoine Teardrop is a Stargazer. It's a completely new character.
Oh, right. Okay. Let's see. I'm looking at that. I'm looking at the synopsis. I'm trying to get like what information I can from Song of Animation, but looking at the synopsis for it. Let's see here. Trying to find this guy's name. Let's see. I can't find out who the main character is. Now, care. I'm going to move on to another point. All right, let's go ahead and find out.
I'll put it in the server when I find it.
All right. There it is. As soon as I find out. See, Song of Making. See, there's the book. I found a copy of it. I ain't going to read all this now. 25 chapters.
Jesus.
Oh, but every chapter is only 5 pages long.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. I was going to say, if you're talking about chapters in like the Warhammer 40k books, how long those can be? It is. See, Kyle, I was offering to give you my copy of the Dark Angels book, and you didn't want it.
I did not want it. I would rather
Yes.
not be indoctrinated.
It's such great stories of heroism too. This book is written like you wrote the fucking font so big. It's like this is like half the size of a book actually.
That's kind of funny though.
It's you,
I
Kyle.
think
You
it's
know how
one
you
song.
like you take like the pillars that you like with pages for most books. Like you take 2 pillars and you write down like 2 different pillars. Like
Mm-hmm.
this isn't like that. It's just like one single pillar of text going down, and they made the font huge.
Yeah, that's what like the draft for my book kind of looked like when they got done with the editing. I was a little perturbed about that.
It feels like I'm 70 years old and I'm looking at my phone screen after blowing up the text on it. This is how big the font is in comparison.
That's great.
It is.
Oh,
It is.
the main character's name is One Song.
Okay, there we are. What one song?
Yes.
That's a little bit compromising, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say it is.
It is.
Yes.
Where
Hey, I didn't write it.
This is like that canceled Werewolf the Apocalypse game where they literally call the White Howler dances the spiral.
the whole thing is that the BSDs would like to know your current location.
Yes.
Now, the next point. Okay, had to bring my train of thought back on the track. All right. Does the Technocracy have anything to do with the Weaver?
I would say yes.
They probably don't know it, but they are.
Now, the Weaver is a parasite in this relationship, where she's taking the stuff that the Technocracy is making and using it for her own ends. Because you remember the ultimate plot is with the Weaver is that she's waiting for the world to reach its peak advancement, where we've made everything we're going to make. We've done what we're going to do. We have nothing else to live for because everything's been achieved. And then she's going to pick up the spray glue can and then spray glue the entire planet.
Her and
there it is.
Lucifer would be great friends.
She's waiting for it to get just right before she freezes it.
And then the world gets boring as sin.
Well, because nothing happens on the world anymore. It's just everything is just still forever, and then it's just the Weaver's the only thing that's left alive.
Exactly. It sucks.
There's where would you say the NWO wants that?
Probably, actually.
Now, what the NWO wants is that they want humanity to be uninterrupted by anything supernatural, where they want a world that's without God, without the triad, without any sort of supernatural. It's just man and only man is the end goal. That's what they're trying to make. So they would, if the Weaver did exist and they were to learn about it, they would deny its existence and refuse to venerate it. And same thing with the Iteration X, because they don't acknowledge the existence of the Weaver at all. They instead acknowledge the existence of computer and venerate that instead. And would you necessarily say that computer is of the Weaver for the Weaver, or of the Weaver for the worm?
The worm would only want to destroy. I mean, if everything was encased in the Weaver's glass box, I mean, they really wouldn't.
Would you say computer is defiling Iteration X?
I don't know about that. Well, I mean, it was partially what set up Threat Null, so maybe.
And that is the defilement of Iteration X, isn't it?
It is. It is.
So if computer had no one else to worry about and he could have this entire way with Iteration X, it would look like Threat Null.
Probably, yes.
Yeah, that's what it would be. The Syndicate is an entropy part of their game.
To an extent. I don't think that's their main intention, because their main intention is just to make money. They're trying to preserve what they have. But
just to make money for
what they do, however, I would argue that the Syndicate is more defilement than it is anything else, because it's dulling down complex spiritual ideas merely for capital gain, monetizing pretty much everything that could have possibly had a soul or spirit linked to it. And that's how they use that to keep the masses asleep, to prevent avatars from ascending, and to keep their pockets lined with gold.
And with Stasis being the name of the game with the Weaver, is being in the green as a company Stasis?
Being green in the company?
Yeah, being in the green.
To an extent,
I
yes.
say yes.
Well, Stasis would be being in the black, where You're not rising above your goal. You're not going below the goal. You're just at the goal, making no progress. That would be stasis.
Okay.
Where if you had a company that said, okay, our goal for this financial year is a 0% growth, that would be stasis. That would be a Weaver company. Where
that would be a company doomed to fail. Then
we're going to do one thing the one way forever with no variation.
I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, Arizona Tea figured that out.
We will release no new products. We will make no changes to management. We will not change how we're spending any of our money. We're just going to do the same thing every year forever.
Again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I.e., Arizona Tea, Waffle House.
Now, Waffle House changed up their menu in a big way. I swear it tastes better now.
Oh, neat. I need to go to another Waffle House. I haven't had Waffle House in a while.
I haven't had Waffle House in years.
There's two moves with Waffle House. You want to go when the sun is up, or it's the whirling in rags from Disco Elysium, with how cozy and homey it is, and then at night it turns into a PvP zone.
Well, see,
I'm not trying to fight anyone while I'm eating, so I'll go during the day, or I'll just Uber Eats it. I'll just call Uber Eats and get it.
No, I in all honesty, I remember when I was a kid, like, when I would, me and my family would go to, like, the AAA baseball game local to us, and my dad would go, who wants flapjacks, or who wants waffles? And then we would go to the Waffle House and get some waffles, and it was great.
Also, Kyle, you said that Arizona Tea is doing nothing new?
Oh, wait, did they release a new tea flavor?
Click the link, Kyle.
Oh, shit, what do they got? Oh, Fallout Green Tea. Oh, hell yeah.
Take a look at this.
I fucking love Arizona Tea, dude. It's so good.
There it is. It's a Coca-Cola product. I can't drink it.
Are they really?
Yeah, Coke owns them.
Oh, that's weird. I thought they were their own thing.
Why don't you drink a Brisk instead?
Because Brisk tastes like shit.
There it is. Well, what flavor are you drinking?
I'm drinking the regular Brisk tea flavor.
Well, you don't drink that one. You drink the pink or the red one.
No, I'm gonna drink my Arnold Palmer from Arizona Tea because I like how it tastes.
You have that video of the man. What?
The only Arizona drink I like is the watermelon.
Never had the watermelon. I've had the fruit punch, and the green tea isn't bad either.
See, I had the watermelon. It felt like
just
red.
Okay. My dad hates the fruit punch. The fruit punch is okay.
Yeah.
Apparently, my brothers do too because they keep buying them.
So it is. So Arizona Tea is not a Weaver snack. Is it something new? There it is. The Gurination will not kill you for drinking this.
Sick. That means I can drink all the Arizona Tea I want.
All right. Are the Void Engineers of the Weaver?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
I guess.
No.
Because they're not trying to keep everything the same. They're trying to explore things.
Explore things. You're trying to explore space and the Umbra, which is a task that has no end and will go on forever.
Checkmate, Weaver.
There is no end goal by design with the Void Engineers.
Yep. Basically, we're like, okay, where can we get people to, and what sort of resources can we get from that?
And would you say the Progenitors are necessarily of the Weaver?
The Progenitors?
Because they will deny it. They'll say that there is no Weaver involved, and everything they did is by their own hands.
Well, I mean, they're going to use Weaver technology regardless, but I don't think... Well, actually, yes, I would say so, because the whole idea is to push, human advancement biologically.
And we did read their book. Now, did they ever bring up the Weaver once by name?
No, they did not. But like you said, they're not allowed... They don't commune with spirits.
It is. And they don't do this for the Weaver. They do this for themselves. So I'm saying that the Weaver will take advantage of the stuff they make, but they don't do this for the Weaver.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the Glassworkers, where the Glassworkers say the Weaver doesn't serve us. The Weaver doesn't serve us. We don't serve the Weaver. It's a communal exchange that they do with the Weaver. Is what they're doing.
Yeah.
In their own minds, at the very least, while being blissfully unaware that the Weavers setting you up to be her tribe when Weaver Sitting finally happens as a scenario. Where you don't realize that the blocks are being put in place. She's doing to the Glassworkers what the worm did to the White Howlers. But it's a slower, more insidious change where you remember the White Howlers were just strangled by the worm into eventually submitting to it.
Yeah, basically.
But meanwhile, the Glassworkers, the Weaver's waiting for them to get to the height of their power before she screws them. That's the whole plan here. Now, any other ideas that I have for this episode?
Do we want to talk about demons at all?
See, anything demonic? Anything demonic? You want to talk about demons and the Technocrats?
Luciferians would fucking love them.
All right. Now the Luciferians. Remember, Lucifer wants to turn humanity into a dollhouse first and foremost.
Well, yeah, and the NWO would do that to an extent.
Where, would you see? Do you think the Glassworkers would be okay with Lucifer?
No, absolutely not.
Given
No
that,
Garrow Nation would be okay with Luciferians.
Where in the story of Demon of Fallen, Lucifer is a pretty nice guy if you get to talk to him, but that's the insidious nature behind it. Where this is a guy who's going to be beautiful, deceptive, and charming, and you need to avoid falling for it.
So you mean to tell me that you wish to rid the world of our hardship or disease or death and suffering, and therefore
why would you want that in the first place?
Because without them, you destroy all of humanity's reason for being. Without an end goal in life, without a point to end, there's no reason to do anything. Everything stays as it is, and nothing changes. Nothing new gets created. Nothing new gets discovered. Nothing ever happens.
You see, you think that because God didn't finish making you. The minute I get into heaven, I'll finish the job.
There shouldn't be a finished point for man.
Which that's kind of the argument you'll have with Lucifer, where the man is saying, the minute I get my hands on the keys of creation, I'll turn the world into an everlasting utopia. But is it really?
Well, when everyone's super, no one is.
Where this is why I feel like it's a bad idea telling anyone about like the idea of heaven is that, oh, it's just a place where you just it's like a never-ending church sermons, basically. Where we're all on platforms praising God and singing his name 24/7, where I feel like that just creates this idea of control, that like God just wants to control you after death.
See, all I'm hoping to do,
the entirety behind the faith is just control.
All I'm hoping to do in heaven is have a drink with all my ancestors.
Where, well, we're not told what's in heaven for a good reason, because if we were told what that was, we'd try to recreate on Earth.
Well, that's true.
Because after all, we're told what hell looks like, and we try to enact on people that we hate.
Yeah.
I figured it would lead to another Tower of Babel.
Because that's exactly it. The nature of heaven is made ambiguous by design for that reason.
Yes, that way we can figure it out when we get there.
So, as you compare that with Rucifer, where in Times of Judgment, Demon of Fallen, his victory is like kind of sort of considered to be a happy ending the minute he gets into power, but that's from a demon perspective, keep in mind. And he comes over, he defeats the Fallen, he defeats the Earthbound, and his followers take over the world as these new gods protecting humanity in this new supposed golden age by their perspective. And at the cost of every other supernatural.
Well, yeah. And the cost of all free will.
Where Lucifer's ultimate goal is to, say, in a nutshell, replace the NWO and the Technocracy as a faction.
Wow, it's almost like you're just as bad as them. Congratulations.
Where instead of becoming a authoritarian state based off of technology, it's an authoritarian state based off of faith in an absolute religion to Lucifer.
That sounds just as terrifying.
That's what I was referring to. And keep in mind, it's a state that's ruled by the devil for however long creation may last.
And we're talking about like the shiny, happy-go-lucky, Tumblr sexy man Lucifer that's in Has Been Hotel.
Meanwhile, the Satan, it would be the worm in this scenario, where this game is very Gnostic by design, where the worm has taken the place of God, where God has left the world of darkness, and has turned the world into the misery and suffering that is today. And Lucifer is directly trying to do combat with the worm and defeat the worm, but at the same time, if you do that, you erase entropy and death as a concept.
Well, isn't that what he's trying to do?
That's what it's going to be. So it's just going to be the World of Cruelty Squad by the end of the day.
Yep. Pointless, unending lives.
And you can still die in the world that the Technocracy controls.
Well, yeah, they got to black bag people for having wrong think.
So would you say it would be better to have an eternity on Earth controlled by Lucifer, or an eternity of the Technocracy, but there's an escape?
Is there an escape with the Technocracy?
If you manage to die in a spot where they can't find you.
Then yes, I would go with that one.
Because, Kyle, are you familiar with Fallout Van Buren?
Wait, Fallout Van Buren?
Do I have a story for you when this episode ends?
Oh boy.
But that's the Fallout game that we never got, because that game was almost done and then it just wasn't released by Interplay.
Well, that sounds
Interplace is such a fucking good company. They have all this stuff like Earthworm Jim, and they just don't do anything with it.
That's every game company. It's my IP to sit on and do nothing with. Do you want a chicken nugget?
I will buy the rights to Earthworm Jim off of you today. I will make the deal with you today.
Hey, look, I would if it's any consolation, I would buy the rights to Star Fox from Nintendo and do something with it, but that's never going to happen.
There it is. We need to find a way to make all this money.
We do. We need to do some Syndicate level bullshit so we can have Star Fox, F-Zero, and an Earthworm Jim.
It paid him $40,000 to make a mobile game.
Oh Jesus!
No, F-Zero 99 wasn't a mobile game. I thought it was though.
Did they actually have an F-Zero mobile game?
No, it was a battle royale game. It was a racing game.
Oh, cringe! What I want an F-Zero Burnout game with a licensed soundtrack. Nothing would make me happier.
See, I think that the whole reason why they don't do another F-Zero is because, like, why are you going to do beyond GX? Because GX was a perfect game.
You have an open world where you actually have like cops and robbers battles because canonically, Captain Falcon is a bounty hunter. You should be able to hunt bounties on the streets of Mute City. That'd be fucking sick.
So
500-mile-an-hour fucking cop chases.
The point I was making with Fallout Van Buren is that the way that game begins, you are a prisoner in a prison. No, you don't start that game in a vault. You're a prisoner in a prison, and you have been in that prison for 200 years. You were in that prison before the bombs fell.
200 years.
And you've been, and the robots that run the prison are making sure that you finish out your life sentence because the robots are keeping you alive for that long.
Jesus.
So that's what it'll be. If the NWO had their way, they would make sure that yes, you would indeed live out the 776 years you were sentenced to by that judge.
So I would just need to get like the DNA scrambler gun to kill myself.
By that point, yes.
I mean, they would make something like that. That would be the way out. It's like, fine, I've been alive for 88 years, I'm done.
And you're just they take away the right for you to die because Iteration X pulls out your heart and your lungs and fills them with Stubborn X to never go bad.
Tear them out before it's too late.
So there it is. And of course, this is a world that the Chaos Workers want to avoid at all costs because the idea behind it is transcendence, like being part of this whole reincarnation cycle where, yes, we use technology, we talk to machine spirits, but we still want to die and be reborn in the ongoing cycle of life that would be Gaia Eternal. And meanwhile, the Technocracy wants to deny the existence of Gaia entirely.
And then it immediately fucks the planet over and brings about the apocalypse. Good job.
There it is. Because these are the same schmuckheads that are selling stuff to Pentex, knowing what Pentex is doing, but doing it anyway because their money is just as good as anyone else's.
Well, that's all they care about, really.
It's all they care about. The Syndicate realizes this is a really stupid idea, but no, the NW says that Iteration X and Progenitors have stuff that need testing, and Pentex will do it for them.
At a budget price on people.
And And now we have the Action Bill hit marker.
That's kind of fucking terrifying, but it honestly would be really
Would you like to
funny.
fight a 6-foot-tall G.I. Joe with guns in his arms?
With perfect aim and, can fix other G.I. Joes by walking over and touching them, that'd be horrifying.
Yeah, you saw the movie Small Soldier, but what if the soldier wasn't small?
Yeah, I have seen that movie. It is a good movie, though.
There it is, and you have that. You have that for the. I swear they got the idea for that from that movie.
They had to have, but honestly, it works. It's such a good movie.
Yeah, there it is. And there we are. Kyle, do you have any more ideas?
I think that about covers it with how we can think about the Glasswalkers and the Technocrats and any other splats you can mix with the Technocrats at this point.
See, Shanny, you got any ideas?
No. So everything sounds pretty straightforward.
I'm also beginning to realize that if the Technocrats did control the world, that would be the only case where being a wraith would be a good thing.
Really?
In the world of darkness, because you don't have to deal with them and their bullshit.
A tortured soul? I don't know.
There it is. It's you're a tortured soul, but you're free. Granted, you're in Stygia the entire time. You have to go along with the soul trade. But I'd rather work a corporate desk job for Sharon than have a gun to my back the entire time under the Technocrats.
Yep, basically.
That's the life. You made Stygia look good.
Yeah, that's how bad it gets.
Assuming the Garu Nation is still around, I'll just attach myself to the nearest silent strider and beg them for help.
There it is. Please.
It sounds terrible either way.
Please, the Skeletal Lord won't let me learn Flux. I want to learn Flux.
Basically.
And there we have it. All right.
Yes, sir.
You think that's a wrap?
I believe so. Although, may I be forgiven to shill somebody who I met at the horror convention on Saturday?
Go ahead and promote it.
Excellent. Let me get the old webcam up for this. So, as I said in the beginning of the episode, I was at a horror convention with Sean on Saturday, and one of the booths I visited was ran by a gentleman named Dennis Robinson, and he has this awesome comic book series called Lycan, the story of the first werewolf. I have the very first edition here in my hand here by Hive Studios. And Dennis is a really awesome guy. He also hosts his own podcast called Botched, a comedy D&D podcast. Definitely go check both of those out. And I believe that will tear it for this episode. Good night, everybody.
Right. See, GN everyone.
Good night.